The next toughest spot will be John Trouse, who has to follow the act of Don Zerilli. But there'll be a short break, I think, after Don, just so we can gab, because I know we've been very quiet. Everybody's been very quiet and very good, and you've got a lot to say to each other. So, without further ado, I'd like to read one from my chapbook, which is published by Modern Metrics, which just this week has been rolled into and become an imprint of Exot Books. And this is a sestina. I'm a formalist. I write almost entirely in form, in received forms. This is a sestina. It's called The User of Vicenza. The junkie, with his cordwood arm and cabled veins, lifts flaky powdered donuts in the cafe sun at curbside reading La Repubblica. His eyes are wide and fixed, his hair and beard a tangled black, the latter thickly matted with a paste of white confection as he breathes, oblivious to crowds. He holds a space created for him, and he crowds the edges, sidestepped by all pilgrims on the vein of course Palladio, a Roman figure, white, beneath a surface coat of moss and vines. The sun has not forgotten him, but bakes the spread of black protuberances where his needles thread the eyes of clustered stars, a crusty zodiac. His eyes are limestone hollows, filled with fallen leaves and crowds of angels blackened by neglect, bubonic, black, and biblical. The clotted stone contorts in vain, and crumbled flesh aspires to ideals. The sun, a Michelangelo immaculate in white. Then, melting like a host, he loses all his white enthusiasm for the arts before their eyes, becoming flesh and petrifying in the sun. The user on his pedestal is drawing crowds that keep respectful distances. Italians, vain and languorous, who saunter cobblestone in black, subconsciously admit they see themselves in black and white each time they pass this stone no longer white, this mourning monument and martyr in the vein of Saint Sebastian. You can see it in their eyes, a beatific recognition to the crowds of self-afflicted celebrants, Fellini's sun communicants, and all the dying in the sun pedestrians for whom the future isn't black, but blackening. Through old Vicenza's morning crowds along the alleys of basilicas and powders, white and permanent, that see through black, addicted eyes, a man reach out his gleaming, buckle-noted vein to turn a page. The vein that channels to the sun, a constellation of their eyes along the black and blue appendage to the white, receding crowds. Vicenza, Italy, July 2nd, 2007. This next piece is a sonnet. Don, you're up after this one. It's a sonnet, but it's got an epigraph, so it's got 16 lines in this case. I think there's enough information in this for someone to pick it up if they read it maybe twice, to cover what I'm going to give you in a slight preamble here. This I wrote after a visit to a museum in which I was really taken by sculpture that was done by a woman who was born in 1943, deaf and with Down syndrome. And as with most people at that time in that situation, she was institutionalized as a child. Years later, as an adult, her twin sister, born with neither of those maladies, managed with some effort to get custody of her sister, took her from the Ohio institution and put her in a proto-group home in San Francisco. And there they would go to craft fairs on the weekends, and she got her involved in an art therapy class. And this is the poem that I wrote after seeing her work. It's called Sculpture. On seeing the cocoons of Judith Ann Scott and a photo of the artist with her work. A knotted skin of yarn and Christmas lights contained the torso, an apostrophe of swollen limblessness and parasites, an armature of stolen property and attic dust. It spoke of motherhood and would not easily be photographed. And she rolled her heavy eyes. She understood why Sister cried and why nobody laughed. It smelled like kitchen towels and styrofoam, a bra, a yellow butcher's smock, and tin. It sparkled like the errant chromosome, or junk if they forgot to plug it in. And when she pressed up hard against its side, the lullaby within would come untied. American Museum of Visionary Art, Baltimore, Maryland, October 3rd, 2009. All right. I so want to do things without notes.